Where is the manager? I said...
In the bustling town of Akwebulu, there lived a woman named Mama Ngozi, who was known throughout the community as the most devoted deaconess in the local church. Every Sunday, she arrived before dawn to sweep the church grounds, arrange the benches, and prepare for worship. Her voice rang clear and strong during hymns, and her prayers were so fervent that even the pastor would nod in approval. Mama Ngozi had a gift for training children. Parents from neighboring villages would bring their wayward sons and daughters to her compound, knowing that under her firm but loving guidance, these children would learn respect, hard work, and the fear of God. She would teach them to read from the Bible, show them how to tend gardens, and ensure they understood the difference between right and wrong. Discipline is love, she would tell other mothers. A child who is not corrected will bring shame to his family. But when it came to her own 3 sons, Emeka, Chidi, and Obinna, Mama Ngozi's wisdom seemed to desert her like water poured on dry sand. Emeka, the eldest, began small. At age 10, he would sneak into neighbors' compounds at night and steal ripe mangoes, leaving the trees bare. When he grew bolder, he started taking yams from Chief Okoro's farm, selling them at the next village's market. By 15, he was breaking into people's homes while they attended evening prayers, stealing money, jewelry, and anything valuable. When Chief Okoro came with evidence, Mama Ngozi's eyes flashed with rage. My Emeka would never do such things. You must be jealous of my righteous son. Chidi, the middle son, had a cruel streak that grew like a poisonous vine. As a child, he would corner younger children behind the school and force them to give him their lunch money, twisting their arms until they cried. As a teenager, he began following young girls home from markets, grabbing at them and making lewd comments that left them trembling with fear. When he turned 18, his behavior became more violent. He would drag girls into empty classrooms or abandoned buildings, tearing their clothes and leaving them traumatized and ashamed. When parents came to report this incident, Mama Ngozi would stand with her hands on her hips and declare, "My Chidi is a gentle boy. These girls must be lying to hide their own shameful behavior." Obinna, the youngest, was clever with his wickedness. He would visit elderly people, claiming to be a prophet who had received visions about hidden treasures in their compounds. He convinced Mama Adora to give him a life savings of 200 naira, promising to multiply it through prayer. He told Papa Ikenna that evil spirits had cursed his farm, and only a special offering of 1,000 naira could save his crops. When the village elders discovered the schemes and confronted Mama Ngozi, she raised her voice for all to hear. My Obinna is blessed with spiritual gifts. You are all jealous because God speaks to my son. Years passed, like seasons of drought and rain. The other children whom Mama Ngozi had trained grew up to become respected teachers, traders, and farmers. But her own sons grew like weeds without pruning, their evil spreading throughout the community like a disease. As Mama Ngozi aged, her hair turning grey and her back bending, her 3 sons had become the terror of not just Akwebulu, but surrounding towns and cities. Emeka had moved to Lagos, where he led an armed robbery gang that terrorized banks and wealthy homes. His name appeared in newspapers as the Akwebulu Devil, and police offered large rewards for his capture. He had killed 3 security guards during his robberies and wounded countless others. Chidi had become so violent that no young woman was safe within 50 miles of his presence. He had assaulted dozens of girls and women, leaving some so traumatized they never spoke again. Several fathers had tried to kill him. He now traveled with a gang, of equally vicious men. Obinna had expanded his operations to neighboring states, running elaborate fraud schemes that left hundreds of families destitute. He would pose as a government official collecting taxes or a businessman offering fantastic investment opportunities, always disappearing with people's money and leaving broken dreams behind. One raining evening, as Mama Ngozi sat alone in her compound, for no neighbors visited her anymore, news came that would begin her final torment. A messenger arrived, soaked from the storm. Mama Ngozi, he said breathlessly, "Your son, Emeka, he is dead." The old woman's hands trembled as she listened. Emeka had attempted to rob the first bank in Lagos, but this time the police were waiting. In the fierce gun battle that followed, Emeka was shot 7 times. He died on the street like a dog, his blood mixing with the rainwater in the gutter. Mama Ngozi wailed and tore her clothes, but even in her grief, she could not escape the whispers of the neighbors. The fruit of poison tree is always bitter. 6 months later, another messenger came with news of Chidi. A group of young men from 3 different villages had banded together to hunt him down after he assaulted the daughter of a respected chief. They cornered him in an abandoned building where he had taken another victim. The girls' screams had drawn them to the place, and in their rage, they beat him to death with sticks and stones. His body was left for the vultures. Mama Ngozi collapsed when she heard this news. Her cries echoing through the empty compound, but still, no one came to confront her. The community had suffered too much at the hands of her sons to offer sympathy. The final blow came exactly 1 year later. Obinna had convinced a group of poor farmers to invest their entire harvest money in a fake palm oil business. But this time, he had cheated the wrong people. The farmers discovered his deception and tracked him down. In their desperation and fury, for he had stolen the money meant to feed their children, they dragged him to the village square and beat him until there was no life in him. When this news reached Mama Ngozi, she did not wail or tear her clothes. She simply sat in her empty compound, staring at the 3 small graves she had dug in her backyard, symbolic graves for the sons who would never return home for proper burial. Old Papa Eze, the wisest man in the village, finally came to her compound. He found her sitting like a statue, aged beyond her years. "Mama Ngozi," he said gently, "now you understand what I tried to tell you years ago. A mother who protects her children from correction protects them into destruction." She looked up at him with hollow eyes. "I loved them, Papa Eze. I only wanted to protect them. And in protecting from discipline, you set them naked into a world that shows no mercy." He replied sadly, "The children you trained for others learned to survive because you let them face consequences. Your own sons never learned, and the world became their final teacher." Mama Ngozi lived only 3 more months after bearing her last son. They say she died of a broken heart, but the village elders knew better. She died of the weight of understanding. Too late that love without wisdom is the cruelest curse a mother can place upon her children. Everything that happened to Mama Ngozi made people wonder if God was asleep on her matter. It made people wonder why God had not changed her children, seeing that she is very good with children upbringing.